Have you ever noticed this? Your closet is already full of t-shirts. But then one day, you're scrolling online or walking through a store, and suddenly you see a new one. And for some reason, it feels different. It feels like the one you've been missing. So you buy it. You wear it a few times, maybe even more than a few times. But a month later, when it's time to get dressed, you reach for the same old favorite t-shirt you've always worn. And the new one? It just hangs there in your closet. The strange thing is, when you bought it, you were completely convinced you'd wear it all the time. You thought it would become your favorite. You thought it was a great decision. But if that was true, why aren't you wearing it now? And that's a question most people never stop to ask. Because many times, we're not buying the t-shirt. We're buying the feeling we think the t-shirt will give us. And sometimes, we aren't paying for a product at all. We're paying for the person we think we're about to become. We buy a course because we think this time we'll finally follow through. We buy a gym membership because we think this time we'll actually stick with it. We buy a new car because we imagine feeling more successful. We buy a new t-shirt because we imagine looking better. The problem isn't that these things are useless. The problem is that sometimes we're trying to buy a future version of ourselves. But a few weeks later, the course sits untouched. The gym visits stop. The t-shirt stays in the closet. And we're still the same person we were before. But that's not the most interesting part. The most interesting part is that deep down, we often know the purchase wasn't as good as it felt at the time. Yet instead of admitting that, our brain immediately starts creating a story. Well, I can't return it now. I'll probably use it someday. It was on sale anyway. It was originally $100 and I got it for $50. It wasn't that expensive. And suddenly, a decision that might have looked questionable a few minutes ago starts to feel reasonable. That's the game your brain plays. It tells stories. Stories that reduce guilt. Stories that help us feel better. Stories that convince us we made the right decision. If you ever want to know whether a purchase is actually important or just feels important in the moment, try a simple rule. Don't buy it immediately. Wait 24 hours. If you still want it just as badly tomorrow, maybe you genuinely need it. But many times, the story has changed by then. And that raises an interesting question. If the decision was truly right, why does our brain work so hard to defend it? Why does it keep creating these stories in the first place? That's exactly what we're going to explore in this video. And maybe the most interesting thing is this. Your brain doesn't tell the same story for every purchase. Different purchases come with different stories. But one story is more powerful than almost all the others. I deserve this. Have you ever noticed that when you're stressed, tired, or just had a rough day, your brain suddenly starts giving you reasons to spend? Bad day? Let's order something nice. Feeling stressed? Maybe a little shopping will make me feel better. Been working hard lately? Come on, I deserve this. The strange thing is, it doesn't feel like an excuse. It feels true, because you did work hard. You are tired. You genuinely want to feel better. And that's exactly why this story is so convincing. Notice something. The story changes, but the goal stays the same, to make us feel better. Because your brain doesn't just want to be right. It also wants to feel good. And maybe that's why, when we're stressed, tired, or emotionally drained, the "I deserve this" story feels completely reasonable. The problem isn't wanting to feel good. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem starts when every attempt to feel better turns into spending. An online order, food delivery, an impulse purchase, an expensive dinner. For a little while, they make us feel good. Then the feeling fades. But the money is already gone. And the most interesting part, even then, your brain rarely says, "Maybe I didn't need that." Instead, it says, "It's okay. You work hard. You deserve to enjoy yourself." And suddenly, spending starts to feel like self-care. That's why bad spending isn't usually driven by greed. Most of the time, it's driven by the desire to feel better. If you find yourself falling into the "I deserve this" trap often, don't remove the reward. Just change the reward. Go for a walk. Call a friend. Watch a movie. Take a break. Not every reward needs a receipt. But "I deserve this" isn't the whole story. Because sometimes we buy things even when we're not stressed, even when we're in a perfectly good mood. Sometimes we buy them for a completely different reason. Because they're on sale. Have you ever experienced this? You weren't planning to buy anything. You were just browsing. Then suddenly you see a tag, 50% off. And now a different question appears in your mind. Not, "Do I need this?" But, "What if I miss out?" Think about it. A few minutes ago, you weren't even thinking about this product. Your life was perfectly fine without it. But the moment you saw the discount, it suddenly felt important. And that's when your brain starts telling another story. "That's a great deal. It'll cost more later. I'll probably use it someday." It's normally $100, and now it's only $50. And the funny thing is, it starts to feel like you're saving money, when in reality, you're spending money. Think about this. If you spend $50 on something you never needed, did you save $50? Or did you lose $50? That's the question your brain doesn't like asking. Because discounts shift your attention away from need and toward price. And you've probably noticed this too. A lot of things bought on sale aren't nearly as exciting a few weeks later. They end up sitting in a drawer, on a shelf, or in the back of a closet, just like that t-shirt we talked about earlier. And that's when a pattern starts to appear. First, it's, "I deserve this." Then it's such a good deal." Different stories, same result. Spending. If you want a simple way to avoid this trap, ask yourself one question before buying anything on sale. If this wasn't discounted, would I still buy it today? If the answer is no, you probably don't want the product. You want the discount. But sales aren't the whole story either, because sometimes there's no discount, no special offer, no deal at all. And yet, we still buy it, just because everyone else seems to have one. And that's where the next story begins. Everyone has it. Have you ever noticed this? Something you've never cared about before suddenly starts showing up everywhere. Your friends have it. You see it on social media. You see YouTubers talking about it. People at work mention it. And slowly, it starts to feel normal, then useful, then necessary. The strange thing is, nothing about your life has actually changed. But your feelings about that thing have. And that's when your brain starts telling another story. Everyone has one. Maybe I'm falling behind. Maybe I should get one too. All these people can't be wrong. And suddenly, their decision becomes your decision. You've probably felt this with phones, cars, fashion, gadgets. At one point, you didn't feel like you needed it. Then you saw it over and over again. And now, something feels missing without it. But here's a question. If nobody else in the world owned that thing, would you still want it today? Think about that for a second. Because sometimes we don't actually like the product. We like its popularity. If you want a simple way to avoid this trap, ask yourself, do I actually want this? Or do I just like the fact that everyone else has it? It sounds like a small question, but sometimes that one question can stop an impulsive purchase. Before you go, I have one question for you. What's the most expensive justification you've ever believed? Was it, I deserve this? It was on sale. Everyone had one. Or, it's an investment. Let me know in the comments. I read every one of them. And if you found this video useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next video.